Welcome to the final round of the South African Rotax Max Challenge at the Zwartkops International Raceway, west of Pretoria. Race day saw the Senior Max and Max 175 combining with a packed grid. In Senior Max, Wayland Wyman was on pole ahead of championship contender Sri Naidu, Jaden Els and championship leader Charles Visser, with Richard Sterney on pole position for Max 175 ahead of Jonathan Peterson. Charles, final round of a championship. You have a comfortable lead, but 4 races on the day, 140 points. It can go wrong.
Like last year, I got a bit lucky in the Junior Max. Everything went my way. Unfortunately, the first heat, I qualified 4th, but I had a good race. But let's see if I can pull it off this year. But obviously, I have to race like Connor, Kai, and Shireen, and all of them. They're all going to be close in qualifying.
With what mindset does one go into a race meeting like this, knowing you don't have to win races? Or the question is, the best way to do it is just win?
I'd rather play it more consistent and rather get seconds and third place safe than rather get a win and crash off the track and lose a lot more points.
Obviously also the one does not want to get nose cone penalties and things like that can cause infringement.
Well, I'll say I'll try to get more or less lead more laps just to be safe, and if I get dived on the last or the second last lap, I'll try my best to keep my place and see what happens.
Second on the grid, second in the championship coming here this weekend.
In the Bambino class, it's nice to see that.
What do you have to do this weekend to get past?
I think I just need to keep my head calm, get as high as possible. Preferably a top 3 will do me very good in the championship. If I do that in all 4 races, and if I try to maintain and keep Charles behind me, I think I'll get the championship.
And Caleb Moss.
The one thing is, both of you are out of towners, it's not your home circuit.
Yeah.
Does this circuit suit your driving style? Because we all know Charles is very aggressive.
Well, I think it's a bit of mixed emotions for me. I like the tighter stuff because of Idubi and all the slow corners such as Kangaroo is similar to here. But I also get the faster stuff, which is not really my type of driving style. But I make do and I like the track overall.
This season, you've been one of the surprises. You have come from nowhere and given some of the more regular guys a bit of a wake-up call. Talk to me about what caused the change.
I don't know, it's just been a tough season, trying to get there, having problems with the engines, but just doing my best and hopefully I'm going to try to secure a 3rd.
You've always done some international. Tell me about your international racing.
I've raced in Dubai for most of my life, around 8 years, and then I went to the World Finals in Italy once in 2016. So I've got quite a lot of experience. Yeah.
And racing here, how much is that difference from racing over there?
It's a lot more competitive here and there's a lot bigger fields, but the tracks are a lot different, but it's good, it's fun.
This class has pretty much been about you two all season. Last round, Nick, you would like to be in my home ground. This guy from KZN must forget it, he must be happy with 2nd place.
Yeah, exactly. I owe him from Idubi. This is my track for sure. So I'm looking forward to the racing tomorrow. It's going to be nice.
Starting today with Heat 1, Jono, you would like to say to him, hey, come on, I'm going to take 4 out of 4.
now.
Yeah, we're here for 4 wins, so let's see how it goes. I think Irwin's now put it on pole, so it should be interesting.
So you at least have to be behind Irwin for 1 or 2 corners, knowing the way Irwin runs.
Yeah, something like that, I suppose.
You've got no pressure. You've got a ticket to the World Finals. You can sit back and relax.
Well, look, we're fortunate to have that position, but you get to enjoy your racing a little bit more because there's no pressure. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just going to have some fun. I use it as training for the World Finals, so just have fun.
Both of you have been to SARMC. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, very much so. I've had 3 years to process what went wrong, so to go back and got some redemption.
The next match 175 is 6th on the grid. That's Jonathan Peterson, number 313. Followed by Nicholas Verheul, number 339 and 7th.
No, there's no home pressure. Maybe that's why I go better here, is I actually can drive this place in the dark and still go to good lap times. But Jono,
a big change up now.
There is pressure, but it's a national championship.
First position in senior max.
So what is you need to do a serious amount of catch-up. What is the plan?
They've got a joint.
Yeah, there's not much I can do other than win all 4 heats. If I win all 4 heats, maybe I'll have a chance of getting close to him. I'm hoping Owen actually comes to the party and mixes it up a little bit, and hopefully I can get Owen between myself and John and not Owen in front of us.
Charles Visser started his weekend in the best way possible by getting the first race win ahead of Wayland Wyman, Jaden Els, Kai van Zyl. Unfortunately for Sri Naidu, he was way down in 8th place due to a nose cone penalty. Nick Verheul won the Max 175 ahead of Erwin Sterney and Jonathan Peterson.
We're heading straight into Senior Max and 175s combined. A big field that we're playing with here. We're looking at the Wayland Wyman and of course Charles Visser on pole. We've got an incredible bit of driving coming out of Kai van Zyl and Shren Naidu. You've got Simon Simpson-Heath and Jaden Els. Jaden Els, of course, an ex-world champion, so definitely someone to watch out for as well. Connor Donovan, Riley Horner. You've got Brent Walden up there, Dane van Heerden, Jonathan Peterson, Erwin Stern. Those guys, of course, in the 175s, a little bit further back. But here we go into the tram lines. This time, do we have a start? Yes, we do. Lights are out and we're racing down into turn number 1. Good start there from the 5-7. And, of course, that 257 is Charles Visser. He's got the drop on Wayland Wyman. Oh, in the background, someone gets sent wide. And literally onto the grass, back up and riding, and that was a massive moment there. I think that was
Dane van Heerden.
Dane van Heerden, I was about to say. Dane van Heerden just getting sent onto the sideline and up onto the grass banking. Not exactly the start he wanted.
Yeah, and he has to clean up the grass on his tires. We'll see if he's able to recover in time just as quickly as some of the young boys did, particularly that is Mandla Mlangeni. But Visser had a very good start. He's probably going to put his head down. He's got the World Championship pedigree, so he's going to be able to open a bit of a gap if Wayman lets that happen.
Wayman is letting it happen. Unfortunately, right now, he hasn't got an answer.
Exactly.
There you can see Shren Naidu having to defend and fight off everybody else that's sitting behind him. 245, of course, right up there too. A good start from Simon Simpson-Heath. But Simpson-Heath, I think, is not really in contention for the championship. He literally is going to be, like we said earlier on, in the Minimax, looking for that last bit of blood for the season and the last couple of victories for the season, just to go into 2020 with a little bit of a boost of confidence. But right now, he's got to get through on the Brill Artman and then still try and find his way up to both Wyman and Visser.
Yeah, and Shren Naidu is no slouch. And of course, Brill is quite a dominant chassis. Over the years, we've just seen it do very well, especially at this track at Zwartkops. It is also a home soil for Shren Naidu.
Yeah.
He's very much used to Zwartkops and the undulations and everything like that. So he should be fine for the race if he doesn't crumble under the pressure of Simpson-Heath. But over at the front, Charles Visser looking good, looking steady. He doesn't have a challenge yet for his position.
Well, they're pushing as hard as they can right now, but remember, it's also the second heat of 3. We've still got another one to do later on.
Yeah.
This one, of course, is a 15-lapper. The next one is an 18-lapper. So there'll be a little bit of fun and games to be had here, first of all, and then hopefully get things sorted out for the next heat. And that's the one that's going to count towards wrapping this championship up. Now, when I talk about the championship, as I said, Wayland Wyman has already secured himself a seat in the DD2s at Sano, and he's now looking to possibly just fix everything he can and take the SA championship. Now,
Shren Naidu would not have been happy about his nose cone penalty yesterday. I missed out on some of the action, but he did earn himself a nose cone penalty somehow. So he's got a lot of making up to do today. Hence,
if we look at the results yesterday, you can see there were a couple of guys that were actually caught out there. Shren Naidu was one of them. The 255, of course, that is
Brent Walden.
Yeah, he got caught out. 313. Jonathan Peterson, 385 also. So mainly the guys in the 175, the max 175s were the guys who were there. But there was a disqualification as well for Jonathan Stephen for being underweight. And he was excluded from heat number 1. So nose cone penalties basically just drop you down 5 seconds. But if you don't get a nose cone penalty and you have, like for instance in the first heat we saw, problems with being under or overweight, then you're definitely going to be not overweight. You don't have to be. You never have a problem being overweight, but there's a problem being underweight in this one. They're very discriminatory against fat guys.
Segregation. Hey, just call it that.
All right, so a bit further back there, the 175s having some fun of games of their own. It looks like Jonathan Peterson is leading things out. He has got a bit of work to do though, because you can see just how hard he's pushing there with Verheul. It's not an easy day in the saddle for them. They've got to work just as hard as the guys just ahead of them there in the Senior Max. And Senior Max and the 175s now also pushing as hard as they can. But it looks like it is Verheul. He could be leading things out here in the 175s. Erwin Stern up there too, and Jonathan Peterson having some fun and games with the two boys at the front end of 175s. Back, there they come, down onto the breakers. 339, confirmation on that one. Definitely Nicholas Verheul. And then tucked in behind there, of course, is 313, Jonathan Peterson.
impressive lockup I saw there by Brent Walden, and how he's able to keep control of his barrel as the rear tires kind of kick out and go on the outside just before it goes down under the bridge.
And this is a 175s now coming into the twisties for Hale and Peterson, and they're absolutely hauling at this stage. So good to see how hard they are pushing. Incredible also to see how the lap times are very similar in the 175s and the Senior Max. It's not really a massive difference in chassis. It's just a small difference in engine capacity that they're playing around with. But in terms of lap times, I mean, the top lap times out of Schalfus are 43s. The top lap times out of Verheul are 45. So it's about a 2-second differential between the 175s and the Senior Max category.
And it allows for a cleaner way of competing as well. It's very close and competitive, but also it keeps them apart so they don't interrupt with each other's championships. You'd hate to see a bit of argy-bargy with someone you're not even in contention with.
Well, they come flying through the twisties now, back up the hill and going to do the crossover. As they come through that XPS crossover now, you can see just how hard they're having to work to try and maintain the pace that they've started with. Now, the pace at the front end is being absolutely dominated by Schalfus. And we're just waiting to get a timing monitor set up here. They're busy working on it as we speak. But it'll be interesting to see, because I think with the conditions we've got today, it's probably not as hot as what it was yesterday, according to what I can see so far. There is a little bit of a breeze as well, which is going to make the engines work a bit easier. And of course, with all of that coming into play and all the boxes being ticked, very good possibilities that we may even see faster laps than the 43.998 we got out of Schalfus in heat number 1 yesterday. So
Wyman looking very impressive there.
Yeah, he is. The barrel's starting to put a bit of pressure onto Wyman, though. Waylon Wyman has been sort of comfortable at this point, but I would have to say all of a sudden there's a bit more aggression coming from Shin Naidu, realizing that he's probably running out of laps here in heat number 2. That last corner, the double left-hander, Shin Naidu's had a couple of occasions where he's made some moves through there.
Yeah.
There's been a few guys that have been able to make them. There's not a lot who can make them through that double left-hander right at the end of the track, and they're heading towards it right now as they come over the crossover. There you can see it gets close enough, setting things up for turn 1. Watch for the dive at turn 1.
See if you make it stick.
Pulls out, on the brakes, and done to perfection.
Nicely done.
Now set that up right from the bottom end of the circuit. Now Waylon Wyman's going to try and come back at him, but Waylon Wyman must just keep an eye out on Simon Simpson-Heath, because Simpson-Heath also not too far off the back end. And then joining them for the first time, it took him a while to get there, Jaden Else.
Yeah, he's been a non-starter in this heat in particular. I haven't seen his cards pop up as often as some of the other races.
Remember, that's the next world champion we're talking about, so he certainly knows what to do in a kart.
Precisely.
But he is one of the youngest drivers in Senior Max, so he's got probably a little bit more time to play with in this class, and maybe just using this for an experience year, and maybe give a big push next year for the championship.
Which is the typical way to go about it. Patience, the patient build-up is always the best. We've seen it work with some of our talents going abroad. I mean, we've seen it with Brad Binder, how he started very well from working his way up from Moto3 all the way up to MotoGP now. So taking your time about your approach in the class you're competing in is very important.
Well, I'm hearing in my ear there that Jaden Else has decided there's a good possibility of a potential drive in the Falcon Polo Cup for next year. So he might be making the move that a lot of karters do, either into single-seaters or into saloon cars. He's deciding to go the saloon car route. It's not a bad route to go with Falcon Polo Cup. It's an exceptionally close and hard-fought-for challenge.
Not at all,
If you look at the current sort of top 2 drivers, one coming out of what was originally karting into Super Hatch and then went into winning an international Golf R Cup. He also just came back and won the Amio Cup in India. Jeff Kruger we're talking about, and of course he's a double champion in that category as well. And now looking for a possibility, you got Brad Liebenberg, who's now fending off the attack in Falcon Polo Cup for the championship this year. So karters certainly do well in the Falcon Polo Cup, and if Jaden Else is looking to make that move, it's not a bad one.
And it's going to be interesting to see, just you've mentioned Brad Liebenberg, how his year ends, because this may also, the Rotax Karting Challenge may also eat into his Polo Cup commitments coming end of the year. I mean, he does have a championship battle to be responsible for. It's going to be interesting how he juggles things and how he stays competitive. But so looking at Wayman there, he's trying to stay with one Shin Naidu, who made a very smooth move on him. Wayman hasn't been able to answer, and he's got one Simpson-Heath right behind him. So a bit of a drop in pace there with the number 2, 3, and 4.
Sorry, just trying to sort the timing out there as well for you there, Prince. I think 2, 3, and 4 is where the battle's going to start to rage from now on, because that gap has now been bridged. They're not going to catch Schalfus, not in these next 2.5 laps. So I think Visser's basically got this one sorted out. It's going to be for second and third place that they're going to be fighting for here. And you can see just how hard Waylon Wyman is now starting to apply the pressure again onto Naidu. He realizes Naidu's got about a half a cart length there, or maybe about 2 cart lengths as they come up to the breaking point. And there's actually not really a breaking point there. It's a little roll off and then climb back on the throttle as they come diving through. So a nice bit of maneuvering happening here. I think we're about to get timing. We do. Yes, we do. Thank you, Brother Bear. Leader is heading on to his final lap now.
I think he just took it, actually. It is flagged down.
Oh, was it flagged?
Yeah.
So it is Charles Visser who takes the win, and a 43.905. I did say he was quicker. Hello. 43.998 yesterday, and he did a 43.905. So definitely one there. Second win for the weekend for Charles Visser. Srin Naidu in second and Waylon Wyman in third, with Simon Simpson-Heath beating out Jaden Else. But of course, with Charles Visser taking the second victory for the day, or for the weekend, that's basically one hand on the championship title.
Well, I got a good start, and the start was actually quite good. Was Shireen slotted in behind me, and after that, Waylon went on the outside and gave me a bit of breathing space. But it's still a national, and we'll see what happens. Not this win doesn't secure anything; it just makes it a bit closer. But we'll see what happens the last 2 heats.
I think we set our tire pressures a bit too low at the beginning, but then it seemed to come back a bit, and then I overheated my tires, so I decided to let go of it. And then in the final couple laps, I decided to push again. I got Waylon at the end. Next race, I think we're going to make some changes on the axle and see what we can do there with the tire pressures, and we'll see and we'll go from there.
All of these guys about to go to battle now for what is going to be an incredible Senior Max battle. Senior Max, of course, is one of our most competitive categories, and as they get down into the tram lines, have we got a clean start on the first one? Yes, we have. That's a nice one to change things up. Down into turn number 1, though, a great start coming out of Charles Visser, who looks to once again go to the front and disappear. And that's what he's kind of been doing all season long. He's taken a victory already today. He's taken a victory yesterday, and he's looking for his third of 4 here today to try and secure himself the South African Championship, and fighting hard for that one. But remember, Waylon Wyman, a little bit further back in this field, just had issues in the DD2s. He's in the DD2s and in this class all together today to try and make sure that he's got a chance of flying the flag high there. Shrin and Shawl are the championship, of course, contenders there, and Srin Naidu currently sitting 4th on track. Not where he wants to be, with Charles Visser leading things out. So some work to be done now, and you can see just how hard they're going to have to work here. Up into the top end of this field, watch out as well for Kai van Zyl. You've got Jaden Else, who'll be fighting hard, and never ever take out of the equation there the 234 machine of Kai van Zyl, because he really has had a bit of a change around here in the second half of the season. So far, Wyman, Else, Kai van Zyl, Connor Donovan, and Charles Visser have been the front end, along with, of course, Srin Naidu. But Srin Naidu has some work to do now in the 212 after a nose cone penalty in the first heat yesterday, and not such a great outing in the second heat earlier this morning. So let's see whether or not the Burrell man can do anything about the man out front. At this stage, doesn't look like anybody can, because he is absolutely hauling.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I just saw Sri Naidu and Jaden Else there using a lot of their speed to get and sort of make light work of one Simpson-Heath. Didn't take too much for both of them to get past him. I thought Jaden Else would sort of hinder Sri Naidu's progress and give him a bit to worry about, and I think he definitely will be. He's able to keep with the Burl, at least where pace is concerned. In the opening laps of the race, he's been able to keep with him. We'll see what Sri Naidu has to do with defensive-wise. Is he going to be parking the bus against Jaden Else, quite literally, or is it going to be him just surging ahead and Jaden Else using his momentum to catch up with Visser over there in the front?
Visser's dominant at this point and already into the 44.2s.
Yeah.
44.2s almost on record pace that he was doing yesterday, and the pace that was set yesterday, of course, in slightly hotter conditions. We've got a nice cool breeze here, looking at about 24 degrees Celsius out on track, or ambient temperature. So track temperature is probably going to be just over the 35, 37 degrees Celsius mark. So ideal conditions here for kart racing, and that's why we're seeing such great times and such good battles throughout so far. As they head down through the bridge for the first time and into the tunnel, you can see that, I can tell you, things starting to heat up there for second, third, and fourth place, because it's Srin Naidu is closing in on the back end of Kai van Zyl, bringing Jaden Else along for the ride. And Jaden Else, first time in the Senior Max category this season. A little bit further back, we'll also try and keep an eye out on what's happening with the 175 category. The Max 175s are combined with Senior Max due to the fact that they're on very similar lap times. But it's just slightly more elderly drivers that are fighting things out there. At this point, though, looking down the field and looking at the timing monitor, Dane van Heerden is currently leading that out at the 175 level.
Waylon Wyman's going to be looking very much to capitalize on whatever pace. He just gave driver behind him a signal there to let's keep focused, let's try to catch up. I think that was Simpson Heath, yes. We're showing Simpson Heath to sort of focus on catching up with Jaden Else because he has opened a significant gap. Trying to close in on podium positions there is Wyland Wayman.
I wonder if Carl Lawrence is at a chat today in Fanetta, because remember in the first heat of today, Fanetta got sent onto the sideline right at the start. I think Carl might have said to him, listen, concentrate on what you need to do and let's get the job done before we start fighting. And I think Fanetta's got a slightly different helmet on there right now.
Look at Naidu. He's fuming where he is because he's absolutely chopping every corner. He's cutting every apex. If you look how narrow his line is trying to catch up with Van Zyl.
And his teammates nowhere to be seen.
Exactly.
Connor Donovan is sitting down in 7th place.
Oh,
not even on par with the guys up front there. So it's not working out here for the Burrell guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And if that is actually the case, look, you never know, because there's so many connotations that can happen in karting. But from what I'm seeing right now, it certainly looks like there's a bit of a tail gunner role being played here by Kai Van Zyl, and he's doing a superb job of it.
We saw a similar interplay last year with some of the senior classes. There you go, Naidu getting very aggressive later on the brakes there. Finally secures a move ahead of Van Zyl. We'll see if he's able to keep ahead of him. And if Van Zyl has one Jaden Else to worry about, because Jaden Else's pace has actually been good in this heat. He wasn't really present in the previous one, but seems to be up with the boys this time around. Naidu looks to have secured his position thus far. He's got a good run up the hill there going into the twisties.
If I look at the way things are going in terms of times as well, another man to watch out for will be Waylon Wyman, who's now closed onto the back end of that pack. He's not quite there yet. Jaden Else is probably 2 kart lengths ahead, but he's almost there. And Waylon Wyman will definitely be looking to spoil the day here if he can to anybody in front of him. Didn't go according to plan there for his DD2 outing, but in seniors he's still in contention. And remember, he's already secured himself the Africa Open. And with that Africa Open, of course, he's secured the seat to the DD2 World Finals in Sano. So he's using DD2 to practice, and he's using this kart, he's using the Senior Max to practice for DD2s.
Practice makes perfect, and Naidu seems to have perfected at least trying to open a gap over ahead of Van Zyl there. It's pretty much the same, but he got that type of advantage very quickly. Now Van Zyl may have Jaden Else to worry about, who I think probably has sniffed a bit of blood, seeing how Naidu was able to get ahead of him and secure his position. Van Zyl never had an answer to that, but as you've said, Greg, Wyman over there also very close and very much possibly could make a move on Jaden Else.
I'm just looking at the way the setup on those karts is as well. Have a look in the back end of Naidu. It's not really a massive difference for me, but look at the angle of the exhaust pipe compared to everybody else, other than the 245 going through there. And Simon Simpson Heath and Naidu just with a slightly angled exhaust system as opposed to the other flat ones that are there. Don't know if that'll make any difference, but it is definitely something that's caught my eye on a few occasions. I kind of thought to myself, I need to get somebody up here, maybe like get Carl or somebody to come and explain, is there any advantage in terms of the angle that they run those exhaust pipes at?
Yeah, possibly. Maybe a case of better flow, a case of better suction and a suction effect, pulling exhaust gas out of the exhaust there. So might actually help in reducing back pressure. But as you've said, we'd love to have someone like one Carl Lawrence to actually explain to us the in-depth insight of that.
It's Erwin Stern.
There we go, yeah.
Erwin Stern on the sideline. So that's not what you want, that's for sure. That's a pity to see him on the sideline. That's a seasoned campaigner in South African karting, and definitely a man that doesn't like to be parked on the sideline.
Yeah, still got a bit of sportsmanship in him. I can see him hiring some of the racers still on the track along. He's still going to enjoy a bit of racing. He has a better seat than you and I, don't you?
I don't know. In these conditions, I'd prefer to be where we are right now as opposed to out there with, 26 degrees Celsius ambient temperature. So things are definitely heating up in terms of race action and about to get even hotter as the pressure's being applied there by Jaden Else, the youngest driver in this category, and putting pressure onto a man who's been around for a while in this class. So let's see whether or not Kai Van Zyl can keep out the attacks from Jaden Else. He wasn't able to fend off the Beryl kart of Naidu, and Naidu has not been able to do anything about the 1.5 second lead that Charles Visser has got over everybody.
Yeah, try as he might. Visser is just in a class of his own, really. You saw it from the start and how quickly he just got away from everyone. Jaden Els possibly might bring Wyman in his wake, and Wyman using the toe he's got with Jaden Els there to get past Van Zyl if anything happens. So Wyman's definitely going to be waiting for something to turn out between the two riders ahead of him.
Across the line they go with 2 to go. 2 laps to go now. Is there going to be any change up here? Waylon Wyman, I think, I did mention earlier, could be a potential threat here to a podium finish.
Yeah.
And the podium finish at this stage is in the hands of Kai van Zyl. 1 and 2, I think, is sorted. I don't know if Kai van Zyl is going to have the ability to attack Srin Naidu and defend Jaden Els and Waylon Wyman at the same time. His main concentration right now is to keep off the attentions of Jaden Els in the CRG and Wyman in the Tony Kart. And that's exactly what he's doing. And he's doing a good job of it in that angry chassis.
That is quite a gap he's going to have to try and lessen and make smaller. That is, of course, Van Zyl trying to catch up to Srin Naidu. But now I'm pretty sure Van Zyl can hear Jaden Els braking behind him. So he is wary and he's sort of maybe holding his defensive cards. But yeah, there you go, over the shoulder. He's definitely ready to defend. He probably knows where to go a bit more narrow now. And Jaden Els has caught up. As he looked over his shoulder, I think he might have gained a bit of an advantage there.
Well, I think it's going to be one of the top finishes we're going to see out of Kai van Zyl, so it might not be a bad option to go and have a chat to him and find out if there were any team tactics that were being into play there. A little bit of back markers, I should say, to be taken into account here. If I'm not mistaken, probably going to be Jeff Stephen or Jonathan Stephen that they've just gone past there. But needless to say, no worries at all. Look at that confidence oozing out of Charles Visser. Comes across the line, just shuts the radiator down, just gets the engine to cool down a bit. Bit of showmanship as well. There's a good possibility with that showmanship. I think he might have secured the championship, buddy, to be honest with you. You don't go and do that kind of maneuver in a kart unless you know you've done the deal. And if that's the case, congratulations to Charles Visser, ahead of Srin Naidu, Kai van Zyl, Jaden Els, Waylon Wyman, and Simon Simpson-Heath. Then it was Connor Donovan, Riley Horner. Dane van Heerden finishes up in 9th place and takes the win ahead of Brett Walden in 10th in the Max 175s.
I would say it's a good race today. This heat I got the win, start second for the next heat, but the next heat will put a great race up, me versus Shirin. Shirin starts on pole, I start on second, and we should put up a great race the last heat.
Do you think you can get the championship back in your hands?
Oh no, honestly I don't think so. The deal was I had to win 2 races today, and unfortunately I couldn't do that. But we'll try our best for second now and see what we can do in the last race, and we can have the last blood of the season in a way. So at the start it was a bit of a scruffy start. I would try to go around the outside and gain some positions, but at the end I managed to get second, picking off one by one, and then I just couldn't get a real control in time. So unfortunate, but we'll make some change and see what we can do in the last race.
16 points adrift there for Srin Naidu as he lines up at the front end alongside his championship rival Charles Visser. So the top 2 on the front row are the top 2 in the championship. Watch out for their battle. Second place and second battle we're going to watch out for, of course, is Simon Simpson-Heath, who is looking to come a bit further back through this pack and take on Connor Hughes and Kai van Zyl. Waylon Wyman dives through and looks for a chance, but can't quite get through there, and it's a great move from Jaden Els, who gets up into 4th place, just making Wyman have to do a little bit of evasive driving. Wyman comes back at him for the 3rd place again and squeezes out Jaden Els, but up front it's Srin Naidu. Naidu doing everything right, but more importantly, Visser actually doing the best job in the house right now. He just has to finish behind Srin. If he finishes behind Srin, championship's done.
Jeez, yeah, it's going to be probably a calculated race for him. He's got the head on his shoulder. You can see just how much of a difference Wyman's move makes in terms of pace. He almost immediately, he and Jaden Els, that has immediately lost the advantage that they had and the short distance that they had towards catching the front 2 there, Charles Visser and Srin Naidu.
Yeah, and as they come through, we got our timing monitor backing in. Big thanks to our crew there. Magic job for them. What they did was, as they plugged the laptop into the Wi-Fi, the laptop started doing upgrades of everything on the computer.
Oh, wow.
Which is why we had a little issue. But it's all sorted now. So we've got timing back again, and we'll give you a little bit of insight as to what the lap times are like as well. We'll keep an eye on this one, but as I said, Charles Visser having a chat to the big boss of the mafia, Mr. Visser himself would have said to him, my boy, you just stay behind Srin. You don't do anything more.
100%.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. Stay behind Srin, take the championship. Done deal. How far back, though, are the other 2 contenders? Okay, he's not listening. Oh, the Mafia are going to have him now. They're going to have him big time. They're going to be sending out the dogs. They're going to have horse heads in his bed tonight. No, he's going to be in big trouble. Big trouble.
Fishes in his head.
Yeah, you're going to be sleeping with the fishes. Eh? You're sleeping with the fishes. Eh? How you like your spaghetti?
Yeah, sure.
First in the front page. Well, maybe he wants to go for the win. Maybe he wants to take the title with the win. That's not a bad package, right?
No, not
so out in front of Srin Naidu now, and that'll just give him a couple more points, of course. So it'll be 376 and 375. 3 points will be the complete of that as we 395. So 23 points and we'll finish up after this. If they stay as they are. Waylon Wyman is in third. Don't have to worry too much about him. Jaden Nels behind that. They're not really involved in the championship. The one we need to watch out for is Kai van Zyl and Simon Simpson-Heath. Van Zyl is ahead of Simpson-Heath to the tune of 1 point in the championship, but it's 2 points in the championship coming into this round. So Simpson-Heath has got the advantage. Might hang on to third place overall if he can beat Kai van Zyl. But if Kai van Zyl beats him and he drops back any further, Van Zyl might overtake him here in the third and final heat of the day. Or fourth and final heat of the day, beg your pardon.
So we still got calculating to do his part. But what I noticed here, the front two, I think Sri Naidu would have benefited from actually being in front of Fissa. That being, if he sort of had kept the same pace that he had, Wyman would have been able to catch up to the front two and sort of trouble Fissa. Now I think Fissa detected that or was given a sign to go ahead of Sri because Wyman was actually catching up to the front two. It was going to bother his position.
The only way Sri Naidu can win this one, unfortunately, is if something goes wrong with Charles Fissa.
Yeah.
Fissa has to have a complete DNF.
Yeah.
And then we still have to look at the permutations of the dropped points.
Exactly. And knowing Fissa, he's got
to and I think the only way he can possibly lose this is a disqualification, which is highly unlikely on Charles Fissa's team and the way that they do things down in pit lane. They are not renowned for doing anything irregular or erratic, particularly at this stage of a championship where they know their boy is not only going to take the South African Championship, but then take the seat for Senior Max and have some handicapes.
That's definitely high stakes.
Remember, he's already won a Junior Max championship before. Yeah. His brother's also won a Mini Max championship, so it runs in the family there. So it's great to see the Fissa boys doing such a good job, and they really are an incredible family. So hats off to them. Sri Naidu, take nothing away from that young man. He's had a phenomenal season. He's fought hard, and he's going to have to sort of live with the fact that it's going to be second best this time. He's going to have to come back and try and do it again next year. And both of these boys will be involved in the Senior Max next year because I don't think they are old enough to step up yet into the next stepping stone.
Yeah. Unless one of them has a strange growth spurt and becomes really tall.
Yeah, maybe then you want to look at maybe 175 or possibly into DD2 as a test run. Maybe have a look and see what it's all about, like Waylon Wyman is doing. He's slowly but surely becoming a potential threat there. Needs to get used to the shifters. It's not an easy thing to do. Shifter cart is completely different to a point and squirt one. And look, he's doing a great job, no doubt about it. And of course, remember, he has already won the Africa Open Championship, so he's already got a title under his belt for 2019. He's the man in third place, Waylon Wyman.
And a significant gap he has ahead of him, and that is Sri Naidu. So he's just heading up the train really of the rest of the circuit there. He's the best of the rest, they say.
Yeah.
Looks like
Jaden Nels in the middle there. Remember, he's not really involved in the championship. He's 7th place at the moment in the championship, but this was his first season up into the Senior Maxes. An ex-world champion from South Africa as well. He's done an incredible job at World Karting Finals in the past, so I'm sure he'll be reveling in the fact that he's gone so well and finished potentially, if he stays there, even in the top 5 in the championship. Top 5 in the championship in your first season is not bad. And of course, if you go with a strategy, and he didn't do the first round as well, if you go with that kind of strategy, what a move there as well. Yeah. Upping through, Kai van Zyl is through and makes a move up and squeezes out Waylon Wyman for one position. Here comes Jaden Nels to do the same thing. Jaden having a big look there at Waylon Wyman. But going back to my thought, if you finish in the top 5 in your first season of the championship and you go on the strategy that most of the teams will give you a season to get used to the new kart, the new power, the new abilities, etc., that are available, like they do, for instance, like with Brad Binder. He gets one season to do the bike and test the bike and make sure it's right. The next season he's in the championship contention. So that's kind of a good strategy to have if you're a team boss with your driver. Simon Simpson-Heath is coming back into the mix as well, just on the tail piece there of Jaden Nels. And he has to, because he's got to try and close down on Kai van Zyl. Kai van Zyl is now 2 positions up the road from him, and that means Simpson-Heath will be losing third place overall in this championship to Kai van Zyl if they finish right now and put the flag out.
Yeah, van Zyl has plenty of reason to actually put the hammer down. And I wonder how quickly Simpson Heath is going to be at true responding to the aggression there shown by Van Zyl. He does have Jaden else to worry about, though. He's not going to be easy to be getting past. Wyman over there just behind one Van Zyl. It looks like the gap was really open, actually. It didn't take him too long to actually open up a gap and get closer to Sri Naidu. So he must have had the pace all along, Van Zyl. But a bit subdued there early on, but he saw that, look, it actually costs a lot, and I've got to make some moves now.
You can tell how hard he's pushing as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to slide the cart down in the bottom. Another thing we need to take into account now with those sliding is how good are the tyres. How have they conserved their tyres? How have they been playing around? Have they pushed them too hard? Now with the midday heat, and looking at the midday heat of being, what are we looking at now? 30 degrees Celsius. So it's a lot hotter out there than what it was earlier in the morning. It's a lot hotter than what they did yesterday in the first heat. So how well are these Mojo tyres going to handle the pace that's being put through them at the moment? Now, as they come across the line, another lap completed, and we're going into the last 5. Kai Van Zyl has now caught onto the back end of Srin. So Srin Naidu could be in big trouble here with some fried rubber. And what a move. Take that. Kai Van Zyl diving on the inside of Srin Naidu.
Nicely done.
And all of a sudden, Waylon Wyman goes, I'll have a bit of that. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Down into turn. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and not only Jaden Else has gone through us, Srin Naidu's in big trouble. Srin Naidu has dropped down behind Jaden Else and is under attack from Simpson Heath. That is a big mistake there from Srin Naidu. Big mistake.
Okay, Simpson Heath also in trouble for his championship position, because Sri Naidu is not an easy man to overtake despite the mistakes he's made recently. But I will say, though, his tyres aren't exactly at their strongest, so Simpson Heath may still have a chance to gain a place if he takes advantage of Sri Naidu's mistakes. But Van Zyl, it just looks so good for him championship-wise. There's the night, day and daylight between him and Simpson Heath. So he's going to be pretty chuffed with what's happened behind him if he's aware of it. But Wyman and Else there have a nice tow together trying to catch up to Van Zyl. But Van Zyl's really put his head down. I mean, he's just put in the work that he's needed to. He doesn't have to worry much. He's in a very good position. I'm pretty sure his team is making him aware that, look, just keep it where you are, keep the pace. You don't have a threat in the form of Wyman, just as they approach the double left there and come onto the home straight.
Yeah, thanks. Now you're making me have to work some more mathematics out here. I didn't come here to do maths today, but really. I didn't come here to do maths. So Kai Van Zyl with 3 laps to go, looking good. If he finishes there, he's going to be getting 32. Srin Naidu has dropped down into... Where is he gone? He's gone. He's down to 9th place. There's big trouble there for Srin Naidu.
Yeah, not
big trouble for Srin Naidu. I'm going to quickly work out some connotations and permutations here as well. 28, 27. Keep us going there, Prince, as we're getting into the closing stages.
Yeah, I think Sri Naidu's gone right off. I think I can see him just before the tunnel at that mini hairpin there. He's gone right off and taken his helmet and everything off. Yeah, that's a brillial man. Yeah, must be Sri Naidu. I don't know if our cameraman's going to get him in.
Let's have a look and see if we can. I think, yeah, that is Naidu at the top end.
Yeah.
And if you can try and pick it just ahead of the double left-hander, that shot, if you just pan to the left-hand side, we'll pick up on Sri Naidu. He's actually just walking away and dejected.
Jeez, and you can see him right down at the end there. Yep, that's him. Oh, man. What a disappointing way to end it for him.
There he is. 100%.
Oh, man.
100%. Srin Naidu out of this one. So what is he going to finish in? How many carts we got out there? We got 16 carts. He's going to finish in 17th place. So I'll work out the connotations for that, because it may bring Simpson Heath and Kai Van Zyl into the game for second in this championship.
Yeah, exactly. And
look, we're working on points given. We're not working on drop points here. So it's all unofficial results we're getting from us in terms of the maths that we're working out here. With starting the final lap. Last lap there for Charles Visser. He's going to take it, no problem at all. But second place now with Kai Van Zyl. That's going to give him 352.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight one.
3 wins on the weekend for Charles Visser as well, which is a good one. Behind him, we've got Waylon Wyman is not there. Jaden Else is not there. Simpson Heath is going to get 5. 1, 2, 28.
So he's going to secure 28 points in his first place. Jeez, it's going to be very tight. Now the battle just became that much more important.
Correct. Sure, it's tight.
How tight?
4 points.
4 points.
Even though Shrin's parked on the sideline, he's still going to get second place in this championship. 2 points. By 2 points.
Okay.
By 2 points. There you go. Massive celebrations and a happy man across the line. Phenomenal stuff. Look at that. Sideways in there. Lovely.
Here we go.
Now, we thought he celebrated a little bit early in the first heat. He's now got it all sorted. He is absolutely stoked.
Yeah.
And congratulations there to a man who is well deserving of this championship. Charles Visser taking the 2019 Senior Max Championship title. Results though of the day's race and heat number 4 is Charles Visser, Carl van Zyl, Waylon Wyman and Jaden Elsa ahead of Simpson Heath and Connor Donovan. Then you had Dane van Heerden. He took the win in the 175s. Riley Horner, Nicholas Verheul and Erwin Stern second and third, but 9 and 10 on the road.
Well, it feels very great. Like last year I won a championship. Now to be called a reigning SA champion and a 4-time SA champion, I can't describe how it feels now. But I'm really looking forward to World Final at the end of this year. Yeah, it was very tight though. My Uncle Dave worked out the points. It said it was 9 in front, and the website said it was 3. So I decided let's just go for the win and win the national.
I think the reason we come back, first of all, is that the season is pretty well regulated in terms of its rules and regulations. The series is tight in terms of technical controls. As long as we enforce and police those in a consistent manner, it's a good series to race. Our team races where the competitors want to go, so we don't tell the competitors what to race. If they choose Rotax, we race Rotax. And yeah, I think it's a good series in terms of rules and regs, and as long as we enforce them, we'll be back. You've got to put in the effort. You can't buy championships. I always say that to parents. You've got to put in seat time. You've got to practice. You've got to drive. You've got to develop. And it's not just developing the equipment, it's developing the driver. And if the driver thinks he's just going to pitch up and drive, the diet, the dedication, the wanting to win, that breeds success. If the driver is committed, yeah, you're going to have success.
Yeah, we've been as a family, the Visser family has been in Rotax for some time now. Charles won his third Rotax championship today, and Kylie won a Rotax championship last year. So in the family we've got 4 Rotax championships, and yes, it's a family sport. Yes, I'm emotionally drained. It's hard work, very, very hard work, and not easy. Rotax has always been competitive, and you got to be on top of your game. And unfortunately, if you're not on top of your game, it's very difficult to win in this championship. You've got to be dedicated. Your kids have got to be dedicated. But a great championship.